Oh, the tangled web we weave. Today we're talking about Wendi Adelson and all her lovers. So what do we know about Wendi Adelson, the Black Widow from Tallahassee? That's what I like to call her. Now, she's not in Tallahassee anymore. She's in Austin. I heard a rumor actually today that she's thinking about moving to Denver. I don't know if that's true. But anyway, right now she's in Austin. But she is the Black Widow of Tallahassee. And that's because she took part in arranging the murder of her ex-husband. And then there were other men in and around Tallahassee and down in Miami where she left destruction in the state of Florida, took off and left. And that's what this episode's about today. The other men that she has had to have any interaction with, relationships with. What happened with them? That's what we're going to talk about. But let's talk about what we do know about Wendi when it comes to her behavior in relationships. Okay. So number one, it's always about Wendi, right? Wendi, it's all about her. There is a narcissistic personality to her where she believes, I am literally the most important person in the room. Nothing else matters but me. I'm above and beyond everyone else. And I think when she dates men that are usually older. And she also dates men, I think, that, I've looked at them all and they're attractive. Some of them are attractive. There's one that's really attractive. But I think she makes sure that she's just a little bit above them in the looks department, I think. And I think she does that because she just wants to wrap them around her little finger, right? So what do we know about her? Well, we know that when she goes out on dates, and we know this from Jeff, she drinks her dinner literally. And then she opens her mouth and she says too much. How many other people, with what we know about her conversations with Jeff Lacasse, how many other people have she had dates with where literally she said something where she felt, I could say anything to this guy and he's not going to be scared at all or not run off. And it was something bad, like something about our family or, this is the way my family is. And we did this once or whatever. Like, my brother would do anything for me, or my brother, he's, with women across the country doing really bad. I don't want to get flagged on YouTube here, but we all know what Charlie did with younger women in I think Thailand it was. Let's say she brings that up when she's on a date. You don't think the guy's going to be like, okay, check, please. Run to the hills, guys, right? You should have been running to the hills. But I do think that she picks him in a way where she knows they're the type of guy that's not going to take off. They're going to take a chance on her because they want her. They are so into her and they're whooped. You know what whooped means, right? Yeah. Now, multiple people have confirmed that Wendy's a player, right? We know this from FSU professors that she has worked with. We know from ex-friends. We know from Sarah Youssef. We know from Jeff Lacasse that she's a player. In fact, we know she's a cheater too because he literally caught her cheating at a coffee shop. And there are people on here that have said, oh no, she was just having a little coffee date with him. No, there's more to it. I'm going to go into that. Okay. So don't even go there with me because I've read a lot about this and I've dug and I found exactly what happened at that coffee shop, okay? What I found to be the most interesting part about Wendi is, check it out. Most of the men she has dated are very wealthy. They are attorneys, multi-billionaire CEOs, whatever. She dates wealthy men, except Dan Markel, who's now dead, and Jeff Lacasse, who was framed for Dan's death. Right? They were no use to her. And I think money plays a huge role. It's one of the motives. I really think it's one of the motives why she left. I think Wendi thought she was better than everybody else and she wanted a rich and powerful husband. And at the time she married Dan, maybe she thought he was going to get to that place, but he only wanted to be a professor. Did you ever think about that? That maybe she thought that when she landed Dan, that he'd be a practicing criminal attorney and he would turn into the next Johnny Cochran. But he did not. He did not. He wanted to be a professor. He wanted to be a mentor. He wanted to teach. That is where he got his fulfillment in life. So I think it's very telling that knowing how she dates now, that she dates millionaires and wants to be around wealth and privilege, that it might have been one of the motivating factors for her divorcing Dan, and not this all this other crap about, oh, he thinks he's above me and all that, and he doesn't treat me with respect. Give me a break. He was raving about her on his blog, totally like lifting her up. Now, I still don't think he maybe read the book. I know that he says he read the book, but I think there's truth to the fact that he didn't like fiction. And he probably skimmed through it, and thought, oh, I love my wife. This is great what she's done. It's not my thing, but it's her thing. And he advertised it and supported her the way a husband should. Okay. But all this other stuff, all this stuff that she says that is like bad about Dan Markel, I really don't think it was the motivating factor. I think he was a wonderful husband, a wonderful father. I think money was a big deal to Wendy. And when Danny didn't take it to that next level and become that star attorney, she just wanted more. So the fact that the two men in her life that really, Jeff Lacasse, he complained he was driving a crappy little car, had a crappy apartment. He would never even go with Wendy on dates or go back to his apartment because he said it was a crappy apartment. He was clearly a struggling professor. He did not have a lot of money. So he was expendable to Wendy. So she used him. So imagine being on a first date. Okay? Imagine being on a first date with Wendi Adelson. Guys, this one's for you. Answer me below, comment below, subscribe, like, share. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this one. And women, chime in. Please chime in. Imagine being on a first date with Wendi Adelson. You're sitting at a table. You're just getting to know her. And then you spring that question on her. Tell me about your family. Tell me about your family. Okay, well, my brother Charlie, he is locked up for murdering my ex-husband. Oh, and my mother, she's in the Leon County Jail waiting trial for also being a part of murdering my ex-husband. My dad tried to flee with a one-way ticket to Vietnam with my mother just before she was arrested, and we don't know when he's getting arrested or if he is. Oh, and by the way, I am an unindicted co-conspirator, and I'm just waiting for them to arrest me, but I really don't think that'll happen because trust me, I'm innocent. We can go on dates because I'm totally innocent. So, men, you know what Wendy looks like. Many men think she's beautiful. Some don't. But the ones that think she's beautiful, don't tell me. Okay? Because men, they love to be told that they're important. And when a good-looking woman is sitting across from the table from you, and she is listening to you, she's interested in what you have to say. Men just melt. They melt, especially if she's hot. Yeah, they melt. I want to know what you guys think about that. Would you hightail it out of that restaurant? Would you believe it? Would you think it was a joke? Because you know what? Wendy has a way about her where she can be so sarcastic and flirty and giggly when she says everything that I just said that she said about her brother and her mother and all that. It almost could come off as if it's a joke. And there's just no way this high accomplishing woman really has a family like this, right? I don't know. Just tell me what you think below. Comment. All right, we're going to move on. Okay, got my glasses on for this one. Okay, so Dave Itel. He's our first guy. This is what he looks like. There you go. All right, Dave Itel. He is an NSA cybersecurity expert and entrepreneur. Successful, stable, and very rich. I mean, we're talking loaded rich people. This guy's got a lot of money. All right, so there's that. Interestingly enough, the housekeeper or babysitter that he had on staff working for him was Bree, which is Charlie's baby mama to Roman. Charlie and Bree have a boy named Roman. So that's how, that connection happened there. Anyway, there's a confirmed relationship between Dave Itel and Wendi Adelson between 2015 and 2016. So I'm kind of going backwards here. I'm going more later. And I'll mention George at the end too. but we don't have a lot on George. But anyway, Dave Itel, confirmed relationship 2015 to 2016. Wendy and Dave were romantic. They were not just friends, despite the fact that Wendy only wanted to tell everybody during the trial that they were only friends. Not true. There was a romance going on. There are FBI wiretaps from May 3rd of 2016 between Charlie and Donna, where they're talking about Dave, and we're going to listen to a little bit of it here.
Exactly. So I got her to do that, and then the other thing I was going to tell you is she asked me if Dave could come to the house for Mother's Day.
Oh, she asked you.
Yeah, if I would mind, and I said, of course I mind. Don't bring him. I told her, I said, yeah, bring him. She texted me the other day, and really? I said, yeah, bring him. The more the merrier.
You know, why not? It's fun.
Yeah, I don't care.
Listen, I wouldn't care if you take the kids and her and Dave out on the boat for an hour. You know, hang by the pool just to have, you know, a nice
we do. But yeah, no, I told her, of course, bring him. I mean, I'm sure you'd rather her go spend the day with him than you anyway. You know, that's the best Mother's Day present you could have given me. Go spend the day with him.
You know what? I'm happy. As you know, I'm super happy when I hear that. So thank you.
Oh yeah, no, I thought that'd be your best Mother's Day present this year. Wendy wants to bring Dave.
Yay.
She's developing a brain.
She's developing a brain. That's right. And you know what? I have to walk away so they don't hear me. I'm just happy to hear that she is spending more and more time with Dave. That's great.
Yeah, no. So she's.
And the funny thing was, I actually thought about it would be nice to invite him, but then I thought, I can't do that because his wife probably has kids on Mother's Day. Maybe he wants to do something with her, even though it's an ex-wife. She's still the mother of his children.
No. He paid her $3 million to get lost.
That's a nice payment.
I wish someone really paid $3 million to get lost.
You get lost too for that.
Okay, so you're talking about Dave right now. Dave used to be married. He has kids, but he, divorced her and gave her the $3 million. They're talking about Dave right now. It's kind of hard to hear Donna, but I will help you guys out if you need help understanding.
No, that's great. I mean, listen, Wendy just doesn't comprehend at all how lucky she is.
No, she doesn't.
It doesn't register in her head how lucky she is at all. No, not even nothing. It's just, which is great, But at least she doesn't see herself as a victim anymore, which is great too.
I don't know if she's going to break up with him or not, but in my mind, you don't see somebody and then not see him on your birthday. That just doesn't make sense.
Her life without him, she would be sad. As soon as Dave dates somebody else, Wendy and the boys ain't coming over and hanging out with Dave's new girlfriend. What do you think Dave's going to have the girl he used to be in love with and really wanted to date around the new girlfriend? No.
She needs one more session with you.
I'll give her one.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do.
And the reason her life is so good is because she's getting so much help from everybody around, which makes the importance of having a husband there or whatever not as crucial.
I think what you need to emphasize with her this time is more about what her life is going to be like.
Well, without the kids, I that's right. What Mom trusts me.
It's not looking 3 years from now when she's 40, and the boys are not going to accept anybody else, not going to like anybody else. That's what she needs to say.
Because I'm in that demographic of guys who wants to date.
She needs to know, Charlie, how unusual a guy he is.
Of course, Mom.
And especially
Mom, I have done.
I know. I do now.
I have done.
I know. I do now. Because there ain't going to be another Dave. There ain't going to be another Dave. There's not going to be another Dave.
I just say, Wendy, listen, if you put a 37-year-old Victoria's Secret model in front of me, I wouldn't want to get serious with her. Why? When I can be with a 25-year-old. I said a 25-year-old is going to be 18 in 15 years. You want to buy a car with high mileage or low mileage? Wendy, you don't want to date a guy that's 50. You know why? Because he's too old for you. And he's going to be 60 in 10 years. And 10 years from now, you don't want to see yourself with a 60-year-old.
You can definitely ask her why she's not going out with Dave.
Mom. I don't reference it as saying, Wendy, in a million years I wouldn't date a girl like you with 2 kids. This is true. In a million years I wouldn't. And she knows about double standards in life. It is what it is. Obviously, it doesn't help that she's got these friends.
I know.
Tell her that you deserve the Superman, some guy who's a doctor who's single, who's just dying to take over the responsibility of kids who aren't his. Yes, your kids are a blessing to you. They're more than somebody else.
Yeah, that's right.
Do I look like the kind of guy that wants to come home from work and talk to my 37-year-old girlfriend while her kid farts in my face? No, they're my nephews. I love them. But as far as dating someone, hell no. I want to go ahead and tell my girlfriend, listen, let's go away for the weekend. I don't want to go like, oh, we got to deal with, can we get the in-laws to watch them? What's their schedule look like? It's not just Wendy. It's Wendy and the 3 boys. It's 3 people you're dealing with. Trust me, I know what to say.
I know you too. And
a part of me's pissed because someone gets handed a golden opportunity.
You know what? That's what she has to hear. I don't know what she's got her head stuck up in her ass.
Because she has everyone telling her that she's such a great catch, and she is. And listen, the guy who may treat her really well just may never really bond with the kid. Like, there's so many aspects.
This guy not only is crazy about her, but he's crazy about those boys. And this
I know.
How he treats.
She can meet a great guy. Those aren't his boys, and he just doesn't like them. What is she going to do? Get rid of them? He may treat her well.
We'll tolerate the kids. We'll put up with them.
I put up with them, whatever. What if they're real nice to the boys on day 1, but 3 years down the road, he's pretty much had enough of them. They're ain't his.
She's not only throwing it away for herself, she's throwing it away for these kids that deserve a dad. If you weren't here, that's what I would do.
The difference is that I can talk to her differently.
Who else is going to say, hey, wake up? This is not only the perfect guy for you, but a dad for these boys.
Your problem, Wendy, is that you're highly educated and very smart, and you can't date beneath you. I go, if you want to lower your standards, you will have no problem. But you can't date beneath you. You got to date successful. You don't want to date too old. You don't want to date a guy who's divorced with a crazy ex-wife who's going to make your life living hell.
She owes it to those kids.
Yeah.
She has an opportunity that she would throw in the garbage, and then these kids, believe me, that's it. They're not going to have another dad.
No, they had a dad. It's a tragedy. What
opportunity for them to grow up with a dad who would pay attention, who's smart, who would be great. My heart, because I really see how much these kids adore him, and how attentive and kind he is to the kids. Doesn't she see it? Deserve a dad. If you weren't here, that's what I would do.
The difference is that I can talk to her differently.
Who else is going to say, hey, wake up? This is not only the perfect guy for you, but a dad for these boys.
Mom, I will go down there on Sunday. I'm like 1 day off this week. I know, I was planning on doing something Sunday, but don't worry, I'll cancel my plans. I'll go down there. I'm just kidding. I got to tell you something. Part of me is, there's a lot I'd like to say that I can't say.
I know.
Donna said things like, he could be the father that Wendy's sons have never had. He also said, by Charlie, she won the lotto with this guy. And the family pushed her to stay with him, and it clearly was not a fling, but Wendy was not having it. Obviously, Wendy had some sort of issue where she was not attracted to him enough, so she just kept saying, well, he's just a friend, he's just a friend. And that's why when you listen to the testimony at the trial, she'll say things like, everybody liked Dave. Everybody liked Dave. Well, Wendy did not like Dave enough, apparently. It just wasn't clicking. Maybe they didn't think he was attractive enough. I don't know. This is what it looks like now. What is going on with the headphones? I mean, I guess I know he's got kids, so he must be using his daughter's cat ears, but looks pretty ridiculous. Here you go.
It's weird because it's not even that they were like just focused on how do I protect it on the machine. They were building these huge license management servers all over the place. They were like, we're going to sell you a song, but we're going to sell it to you only on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They were like,
she won the lotto with this guy? I don't think so.
Like doing all this crazy nonsense. And so that was a big part of the early market for security that we to pretend didn't exist.
Right. Okay, so basically, in a nutshell, Donna and Charlie saw a potential future with Aitel. And the thing is that Dave Itel really loved those children. It's all over the wiretaps that he has bonded with the kids, and the boys really loved him, and Wendy should be so lucky, and she shouldn't be passing this great opportunity up. And then they go on and on and on, nagging at each other, Charlie and Wendy, about meddling in her love life, and how this guy and she's going to pass up this great opportunity. And it's just, this is all after they killed a perfectly good father for those boys. Like the nerve of them to sit there and start calling shots about finding somebody else to come along and father those boys when they are the ones who took him away. So sources say that Dave has remained in their social circle. And there is proof of that because there is a web sleuth about 2 years ago. It's like it's called Web Sleuths. He went on there, Dave Itel, and was defending Wendy. And he even shared like a link to his blog. And when you went to the link on his blog, he was listing all these reasons why Wendy was innocent. But even more telling is that he basically said on his blog through that link that Charlie and Donna are the ones who are guilty, not Wendy. So I don't think they like Dave anymore. Next, let's talk about Jeff Lacasse. So Jeff Lacasse is my favorite character in the entire Dan Markel saga. He is a hero, as far as I'm concerned. So, ex-boyfriend of Wendi Adelson, crucial voice in the Dan Markel murder. Early career is that he's a tenured associate professor at Florida State University's College of Social Work. Okay, he holds a PhD in social work from FSU and specializes in mental health. Also, psychiatric medication and clinical ethics. Okay, before returning to FSU, he also taught at Arizona State University. He met Wendi Adelson at FSU. Lacasse met her shortly after her divorce from Dan Markel was finalized in 2013. By early 2014, their relationship had become serious, and they were traveling around, meeting each other's families, and even planning a trip to meet his parents. So, the Adelson family. In March of 2014, Jeff traveled with Wendy to Miami, where he met Charlie and his girlfriend at the time, Catherine Magbanua, who is now in jail for the murder of Dan Markel, as we all know. Both were key names in this case. Jeff recalled Charlie bragging about having friends on both sides of the tracks. Okay, he drove a Ferrari, talked big, gave off vibes that made Jeff uneasy. Wendy's state of mind at the time was that Wendy was miserable in Tallahassee, and she voiced that to Jeff. She complained often about the custody ruling that blocked her from moving and relocating to Miami. So, according to Jeff, she spoke bitterly and frequently about being stuck where she did not want to be, which is Tallahassee. Okay, so the big bombshell comes on July 13th, where everything turns basically to crap. Okay, on July 13th, just 5 days before Dan Markel was murdered, Wendy sat down with Jeff after a movie and said she wanted to tell him something in confidence. We all know that. She told him her brother Charlie had looked into hiring a hitman to kill Danny Markel. She even quoted a price of $15,000. Jeff had thought it was a joke. A lot of people give Jeff a lot of heat over that because who would hear something like that and think it's a joke? I agree with the people on that. He called it dead serious, chilling, his stomach flipped. Again, Jeff is just a regular old guy. Here's a quick clip of him, by the way.
In the past, there's been a theory that depression was caused by a shortage of serotonin, although scientists don't really believe that anymore, and the National Institute of Mental Health actually says that the chemical imbalance theory is no longer a viable option. Neuroscientists have falsified it, and apparently the public just isn't aware of that point. We're pretty clear that it's just a story, it's a metaphor, it's a way to get people to accept diagnosis. The chemical imbalance story is a way to get people to take their medications, but it's not an accurate reflection of what we know about neurobiology at all.
I really love that guy. I really do. I don't know what it is from the minute I listened to his interviews with the police, interrogations, whatever you want to call them, but they're interviews. His testimony, I just really like him. He's so likable and he's so believable and he's so honest. And there is absolutely no reason to think that he is lying about anything that he has said. On a side note, I was listening to that little clip that we just played, and I agree with everything he says, even though it has nothing to do with the case. Okay, real quick, for 1 minute, just give me 1 minute. People with mental health diagnoses, I so agree with this. Like, I never thought, like, oh, I stumbled on somebody that actually is against it. So there are too many labels out there. There are too many labels of whatever, OCD, bipolar disorder. And doctors, they just, here, this is what you got. take out the script pad, write you a drug, and then boom. It's mind blowing to me. And I have so much more respect for him after hearing that because he doesn't agree with it. Just, regular old professor, previously married and went through a bad divorce. He drove like a crappy car and had his crappy apartment and really thought that he landed the big one with Wendi Adelson. I mean, I feel so bad for him. I really do, because I think he fell deeply in love with this woman and fell for everything she said, despite the signs. I mean, the red flags were going off with him, right? I mean, she kept saying things that were just, and I really think that he would sit there and be like, okay, I'm just going to pretend she didn't say that. Right. And then just, hope to God it never comes up again. And then she would say something else that was really wacky. And then her little moments, can you imagine him like, he's already in love with this girl, has already bonded with her 2 boys. Can you imagine just like being in her house and seeing her off in the corner, just like, starting to cry like she was doing and my stomach hurts and go get me some Pepto and then all these crazy comments about Charlie and being in the hot tub with Charlie when he's talking about, really doing vile things to women that are just, who says that? Not only to in front of your sister, but Charlie just met Jeff and he's saying things like this. So I cannot even imagine like how disturbing that was for him. But I bet he just said, focus on the prize, focus on the prize. I love Wendy and I want to pretend that never even happened. So this poor guy is getting strung along. They're, casually dating at first. She clearly, we all know that she was on dating sites. We all know that she had multiple guys, at the very least, in the beginning when she was dating him in 2013. Then in 2014, she leads him to believe that there is nobody else, and she's only dating Jeff. Jeff is really happy. Jeff is thinking this is going to, really turn into something great. I mean, they were even talking about getting Jeff looking into getting a car that could have car seats. So then like a week before the murder, their relationship was really on the rocks because she had went down to Miami, and he thought maybe that the relationship was over. But then she was like emailing him and texting him and telling him she missed him and she couldn't wait to see him. She gets back from Miami and she gets on the phone with him and she's like acting like she really wants to see him. She's so excited to see him. Let's get together tonight. And he thought, oh, wow, maybe we're on again, right? And then they go to yoga. And she was like a completely different person. They're going back to her house, I guess, to finish the night. And clearly they have words where like, okay, this isn't working. And she needs more time. And it looks like, this isn't going to be happening anymore. So he turns around and he walks away. And as he's walking away, he's just, that's it. In his mind, the relationship was over. She goes, hey, Jeff. Turns around. Yeah? Are you still taking that trip on Friday, the 18th? Jeff was supposed to go to Tennessee on the 18th. So she said, are you still leaving to go on that trip on the 18th? And he said, yeah. But what ended up happening is he left on the 17th instead and never told Wendy that. Never told her. Here's a little bit of Jeff talking about him and Wendy.
On July 14th, we went on a date. And when I got home, she had sent me an email saying, I need a week to think. Please don't contact me for the next week. And so that was the Monday before Professor Markel was killed. And then we didn't talk for maybe 10 or 12 days after the murder. So I assumed it was, internally, over. That night when you get an email like that, you're probably figuring it's over. But in subsequent phone calls, she acted as if it was still a slightly open issue. And we closed that down by phone calls that, obviously we're going to move on here.
Did you ever question her loyalty to you in your relationship with her?
With regularity, yes.
With regularity.
And when you say with regularity, when did you first become suspicious? No, let me ask this question first. You were concerned that she was seeing other men, right?
I was.
Okay. And when did you first start getting this concern?
Probably March, April timeframe, I started to wonder. So not too long after we became a couple, I guess what I was wondering is, have we really become a couple, or is she still doing what she was doing before? That was
So
kind of
was it like, did you find like text messages or direct messages on social media that made you kind of go, what's going on here?
No, I didn't see any text messages or anything on social media. Her behavior was just erratic. She would disappear. She would get home very late at night. So there were signs like that.
Would you talk to her about it?
I tried to.
Okay. So let me ask it this way.
Yeah.
Did she understand that you were concerned about her being loyal to you, or your relationship being a monogamous one?
By the way, regarding getting home late at night, this is Tallahassee now, right? Because they're in Tallahassee. Jeff's in Tallahassee. All her people, her family, her friends, they're all down in Miami. So she only had a few friends that she knew from the school and everything. So what are you coming home for that late? You must be sleeping around.
To be completely honest, I think we kind of pussyfooted around that until we had that big fight at the end of June. That's what that argument was about.
Let's talk about that big fight.
Yeah, sure.
Why don't you walk the members of the jury through what happened?
Yeah, I had taken Wendy to Gainesville with me. I was teaching in the off-campus program at UF for the weekend, so I took her with me.
I'm sorry, was it just you and her, or did she bring the kids?
No, it's just me and her.
So like a romantic getaway to Gainesville?
Well, work/pleasure. I teach during the day. She works in a coffee shop. We have dinner with friends at night, that kind of stuff. You know, It's a nice area down
Sounds
there.
nice.
Yeah, it was nice. And weekend started off fine. The Saturday night, we sort of got into it over this stuff. I confronted her about the fact that I suspected that she had been seeing other men.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So you're at dinner?
We were actually up in the hotel room. The night was basically over. It was pretty late. It was 9 or 10 o'clock at night when this discussion happened.
Okay. And had she had any alcoholic beverages at that point?
We both had, but I think just 1 or 2 glasses of wine a couple hours earlier.
Just socially with dinner, maybe?
Yeah, that was
okay.
Apparently that is all Wendy needs to puke all over the table.
There's no more drinking than that.
And did you say, listen, I think this, that, or the other? Did you have any specifics, or were you just giving a vague, I'm concerned about where this relationship is?
The latter. I was pretty specific. I told her I was very concerned. I was particularly concerned because the way she had framed our relationship was, you're not just becoming my boyfriend. I have children. I'm a mother. It's like I was auditioning for the job of husband and father is actually sort of how it felt in retrospect. So I bonded with the kids pretty tightly, and as you can imagine in a relationship, that kind of discussion gets more complicated when you're serious and there's kids. And she had been talking about me moving in. She had told me not to buy a house. She had told me not to buy a Jeep, that I needed to buy a vehicle that 2 car seats could fit in. So
it sounds like you guys were heading down that path.
Yeah, hence why I raised the issue, because I had some intuitions that everything wasn't quite right. Her behavior had been a little erratic, and I was worried about moving in and ending up in a really bad situation, actually.
This is grooming at its finest, people. Like, you need to get a house. You need to get a new car for my kids. Totally promoting him to bond well with the kids, making the guy think that he really has a chance with her. This is grooming at its finest.
So would it be fair to say that she was saying the wrong things, but her actions were speaking louder than her words?
That's not a bad summary. I was getting 2 very different messages based on behavior or what she was speaking to me, what she was saying.
She had other plans for Jeff, as we all know.
Yeah.
Did that argument or that discussion, did you feel it the next morning?
What do you mean by feel it, sir?
Was she acting any different the following morning?
Oh, the next day was probably the most awkward car ride I've ever had in my life. We rode from Gainesville to Tallahassee. She was crying. I was very upset. It was a very awkward 3-hour drive.
It's a 3-hour drive from,
3 or 4, however long it is to.
okay, from Gainesville to Tallahassee, however long that was.
Yeah, exactly, sorry.
And this was in June, you said June 20?
That would have been June 29th, that's the Sunday, the last Sunday in June.
2 weeks later, on July 13th, Wendy tells you, or Wendy has this discussion with you that the prosecutor elicited, right?
Yes.
From June 29th to July 13th, would you say your relationship with Wendy after that awkward, that long 2 or 3 hour, 4 hour, however long it is, from Gainesville to Tallahassee, emotional car ride, right?
Yes.
She's crying,
Yes.
upset,
Yes.
and I would assume, well, let me strike this. Did you believe that she was upset? Because like I said, she was saying all the right things, but she wasn't acting like she was talking.
It's very complicated, and she was all over the place, to be frank, in that at one point she was confessing, at one point she was saying, I never did that. She was saying she couldn't remember some things I wanted to talk about, which was frustrating. So, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No worries. You said she was confessing. Was she admitting to potential talking to other men?
More than talking the night before when we were having the argument, but it was...
What was she saying?
It was a heated discussion, so I don't remember every word of it. But at points, she kind of let it slip out that my concerns were well-founded.
Okay.
And then 5 minutes later, she would say the opposite. And when I've had to explain the story in the past, I've had to say it doesn't sound like it makes sense because she was just all over the place. She was hysterical, really.
Okay. So
Wendy was gaslighting him.
would it be fair to say at some point she admits to talking to other dudes, to talking to other men, and then shortly thereafter denies what she just confessed to?
Well, then that repeat as needed on the car ride back, she was like, I never did any of that stuff. I don't know what you're talking about.
Liar.
Which was kind of crazy making for me because she had confessed to some of it the night before.
Then on July 18th, Dan Markel gets up in the morning. He currently has custody of the kids at that time, takes them to daycare, goes to the gym, comes home. He's on a call with a school that he's looking into for his kids, pulls in the driveway, tells the guy, hey, hold on, there's somebody in my driveway that I don't recognize. The guy stayed on the phone. He could hear the whole thing. He hears like loud bangs and then like a moaning sound. Well, 2 hitmen pulled up in their car. One got out, went up to the window on the driver's side, and shot him twice in the head. Pretty quickly, we all know that she went to lunch and drove by the crime scene and all that stuff. They get Wendy. They bring her back. They give her an interview. After the murder, Wendy tells the police Jeff might be someone looking into, with the help of her friend, Jane McPherson. For the first 2 hours, though, and in the first 20 minutes of those 2 hours, she mentioned her own family. She mentioned Amy Adler's ex-husband and didn't mention Jeff at all until Jane McPherson showed up. It sounded very, very planned. Okay? Because she turns to Jane and she goes, Jane, who would do this? And Jane goes, Jeff. Could it be Jeff? Okay, so the police want to talk to Jeff, right? Well, Jeff was on his way back or about to come on back from Tennessee. And you know what? He didn't even stop at his house. He didn't even go get gas in his car. He went right to the police station from Tennessee. Right there. Okay? And he just started talking. And man, he cracked that case way open with all the information he had about Wendy and his whole entire relationship with her, which is so odd and so weird, and all the weird stuff she did. It's crazy. Jeff provided call logs, receipts, phone records. The police cleared him within days. It's crazy. But he stayed in touch with the detectives and he came back several times. And there are repeated episodes that you can find on YouTube or interviews. And here's the thing. He went home after that first interview with the police and it bothered Jeff because I don't think Jeff had a whole lot of time on his hands other than his job and Wendy. So he got to sit down and take notes on everything he remembered in that relationship and all the weird stuff. And boy, is it meticulous. it cracked the case right wide open. He had texts. He was able to connect the dots in so many things with this case, and he handed over anything that stood out. Jeff told police that Wendy changed her phone right after the murder, fearing that it was bugged. Okay. He also remembered her showing him the old broken TV that Charlie had replaced, and the same one Wendy and Charlie joked about as being cheaper than a hitman. In the trials for 2019, 2022, and 2023, Jeff took the stand at all of them. He said Wendy wasn't just frustrated, but she was desperate to leave town. He repeated Wendy's confessions about Charlie looking into the murder, and he told jurors that Wendy's behavior was very odd leading up to the murder, flat out strange. He talked about her canceling a trip that they had, watching the broken TV, offering to pay and get her a new TV, but instead she was like, no, don't go get me a new TV. We're going to watch this one, which was like painful for them to sit there and watch this big old TV with this big crack in it. I mean, it was just awful. It was like completely pointless to watch the movie with the kids. She was acting nervous. And he even suggested that Wendy was trying to frame him because she was like basically saying he was this crazy, jealous ex and who had a motive. You know, years later, when she does testify, she denies all of it. She denied ever telling Jeff about a murder for hire plot. But Jeff held firm. Everything I said is true. Quote, Jeff Lacasse. So where is he today? Well, despite all this, he still teaches at FSU, where he's very respected in his field. He's kept a low profile. And he's only surfacing and coming out of his turtle shell for these trials. So, you know, I wish that man the best. I really hope he finds a woman that he deserves. So, Jeff, if you're watching this right now, you have a lot of fans. Moms for Justice really supports you. And I truly wish you nothing but the very best. And we are so excited for you to continue to support justice in this case, and that you will come forward for Donna's trial, and hopefully you'll be face-to-face with Wendy in a courtroom someday. Last but not least is Daniel Sack. Okay, so Daniel Sack, a lot of people don't know about him. Scholar who crossed paths with Wendi Adelson for a very short period of time. This would be around 2015 and 2016, okay? He is an academic powerhouse, this guy. Okay, ironically, he was involved in theater, which I thought was really cool. But anyway, academic heavyweight in modern performance studies, PhD from Stanford, BA from Brandeis, okay? Mellon postdoc at Amherst and UMass. Also, he taught at FSU of theater, the School of Theater there, 2012 to 2014. And I keep messing up my dates, I'm sorry. So he is now an associate professor at UMass Amherst in the English department, plus Commonwealth Honors College. So we all know that Danny and Wendy separated in 2012. So that leaves her free to date, right? Which she did do. What's funny is that she met Daniel Sack pretty much around the same time as Jeff Lacasse. And Jeff repeatedly says Daniel Sack's name as somebody that he thinks that she is basically sleeping with, right? That she's seeing this guy. By the way, he's kind of cute.
Thank you, Loretta. So I have some notes here, so bear with me as I shuffle some papers around. Today I want to investigate and think about this idea of the Annunciation that Nicola was speaking about as a site where the otherworldly meets the human. Here, biological processes are subverted through the dream of an immaculate conception. Here, one could believe perhaps in a fleeting community that may be established across many worlds and ways of living, the subhuman and the superhuman meeting, the physical and the spiritual joining at once. In the paintings that Attila reconsiders in her film, her video work, they are usually birds accompanying the angel that visits Mary. Located midway between the two figures, they are spectators mediating the encounter, but also messengers. Thus, Attila populates her fictional studio in the Annunciation with pigeons, multiplying the many eyes like possible cameras overlooking the scene. I think there's something, there's a wonderful moment where they speak about the sparrow being in one of these paintings being the patron of the artist. And I think the director says something along the lines of, well, we can't have actual animals in there. We'd have to have somebody dressed as an animal. And then when they actually do film the version of the video piece of the Annunciation, the nature that you see is this tightly controlled version of taxidermied birds and prints of botanical prints and a garden that is very tightly organized. So I think it's this sense that if this is the artist's imagined version, the human version of the world, it's very much a fantasy, and it is very much an inaccessible distance, no matter how close we keep those birds to us, the animals to us. It's our projection into that space. And there's the conversation about the fact that birds see these ultraviolet berries that would glow. So again, even if we did see as a bird could see from their point of view, we wouldn't see what they see.
Okay, so he's a real innovative thinker in performance. Specializes in experimental and international theater, interdisciplinary approach, drama, dance, art, and theory. Believes in blending creative writing and critical theory, and famous for analyzing unpredictability and emotion. He has 3 acclaimed publications, also editor of Imagine Theater's Journal, and he's got 40 plus articles on avant-garde performance, embodiment, and media. Okay, so there's that. All right, so his ties to Wendy. He meets her early 2012, maybe a little bit of 13. Brief romantic relationship while they both lived in Tallahassee. So, Jeff was definitely jealous of this guy. And he wouldn't be if Wendy wasn't playing games. But the thing was, Wendy was playing games. Jeff really thought it was an exclusive relationship, but apparently it wasn't. So, one day, he's walking down the street at a popular coffee shop in Tallahassee. Here it is. So one day, Jeff is coming down the street past a popular coffee shop that a lot of the people go to around in that area in Tallahassee called the All Saints Cafe. And inside Jeff goes to get himself whatever, coffee, donut, I don't know what it is Jeff got. But here's the thing. He goes in, he's at the counter, and he sees Wendy and Daniel Sachs sitting at a table in the back. Okay, so Wendy is in the back, sitting at a table with Daniel Sachs. He turns around. Jeff turns around and he sees her giggling and leaning in and twirling her hair like this, right? And it's all cute and it's all cutesy, right? Until all of a sudden, Wendy and Jeff's eyes meet. She sees, oh my gosh, Jeff is here. Okay, so then Jeff decides to just walk right on past them to the back and go use the men's room. When he comes out of the men's room, Wendy goes back there too. And I guess whatever, to be like, oh, I'm just having coffee with a friend and blah, 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 blah. And then starts crying to Jeff. And Jeff's like, what's the matter? She's like, crying about the fact that she's going to miss Daniel Sachs because he's leaving Tallahassee. Jeff is like, what? Like, what is going on here? I mean, what a weirdo, right? She's crying to Jeff after he just caught her with another guy. And she's crying because she's sad that Daniel's going to be leaving her to go to Massachusetts. So Daniel left because he wanted to be, near the tri-state area up there. Massachusetts is closer to Boston, is closer to New York City. And, being involved in theater and art and writing, he wanted to be around performances and things he could write about in relation to that field. So I would like to think he hightailed it out of there because he saw signs from Wendy. Who knows? But, this was of great strain for Jeff, this relationship. And, Wendy was just totally like gung-ho over this guy. And you can see why. He's a good-looking guy, right? Okay, so other notable mentions, which are unconfirmed and considered complete rumor. So do not go by this if you don't want to. You can use your imagination. But we all have heard about somebody by the name of George. We've heard George, George. We've heard George, Jorge, which is also pronounced Jorge. Well, there is a George Fernandez, which is the son of Mike Fernandez. Okay, this is a billionaire who hired Wendy to run the immigration nonprofit that he was involved in. So he had a son named George. So there is speculation out there that she had dated this man as well. George Fernandez is somebody that is around the same age as Wendy, went to school in Miami, high achiever, wealthy man, might very well be him. Now, we have heard that there are two Georges. So there was another George that has been seen in pictures with her partying down on yachts and, down by Miami in different clubs, some bald guy. Is she still with him? I don't know. So the last question I have for you all is, do you actually think she can get a guy now? I mean, really, she's very high profile and she's been, directly linked and involved in the murder of Danny Markel. So, who would date her? But then on the other hand, if Casey Anthony can find a man, why can't Wendy? So Casey Anthony, she lives one town over from me, and I'm in the South in Tennessee. She left Florida just like Wendy fled Florida, and she moved one town away. So literally, I could drive 20 minutes and go see Casey Anthony because I know exactly where she works. Pretty crazy stuff. So I want to thank you all for being with me today and watching this video. I so appreciate all your support. I'm getting to know some of you in the comments, and we've been chatting back and forth, and just want to thank you so much for your support. That's my dog, by the way, in case you heard him. But anyway, hit that sub button, like and share, and we will see you next time.